Hello and welcome back to Valley Sports Telegram and this is our first preview. I was going to say weekly roundup. That's next week. The school year's kicking off. Prep sports are back. It's football season. It's volleyball season. We're going to jump right in with football. We're going to be previewing all three of the, for lack of a better term, big LAUSD Valley leagues. We'll be doing West Valley, East Valley, and Valley Mission. As always, I have Kenny Hodges with me. Kenny, say hi.
What's going on, everybody? I'm excited. Let's do it.
And joining us after quite a hiatus, she's back, everybody. Kaylie Harden.
Back for more.
So we have a lot on the docket. It's an exciting show for us to put on. And I'm going to say this for everybody who's watching. We are growing in the Valley with you guys. Compared to this time last year, we have so much more to give you. And our insight is a lot more on hand. So we were there for a lot of this. And we'll be giving you kind of no holds barred, especially when Kaylie takes over, have going on. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into this. We'll go East Valley, Valley Mission, and we'll finish it off with the West Valley because they did have the big media day. Kenny, what are your overall views of the East Valley coming up?
You know, it's funny. The East Valley feels it feels like a lot of new beginnings are going to kind of sprout out of some of these programs in the East Valley. We had a lot of veteran senior teams last season. A lot of those kids have moved on. Good luck to them and whatever they're doing in the future. But there are a few programs that feel like they're sort of retooling, as for lack of a better term. You don't really rebuild on the high school level. You just kind of sort of retool, see what kids you get in, see what kids who were in JV move up and they're ready to sort of contribute. And there are some teams that might have a little bit of a struggle kind of getting back to being where they were, but there might be a couple of teams that could surprise as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're hinting at Monroe as far as, graduating a lot, and probably also Poly. Both of those teams are pretty senior heavy last year. So where they're at in terms of their retool, we won't know until they're on the field. We did, and I'm going to eat this crow right now. I don't even remember if I did it earlier, but I'll do it right now. Last year, we made the huge mistake of underestimating that Monroe program, and those seniors came out under Coach Senegal and just pummeled everybody, almost everybody. But it was enough of a pummeling where they made us take notice. So not to underestimate them, but having graduated all those seniors, the question is how ready are these underclassmen who probably didn't play as much last year? How ready are they to step up and try to fill those shoes? Right.
Yeah, because not to cut you off, but that is sort of the question for a team like Monroe, right? You lose a lot of that veteran experience, but there were a lot of guys who sort of had an opportunity to sort of learn under that, be under that learning tree and sort of kind of follow the lead of those seniors and sort of change the mindset in and around that program. One of the things that Coach Pops talked about last year when I spoke to him a few times was the idea that the seniors weren't just playing well, but they were also setting a bar and a standard that anyone who came after them, that this is the new Monroe now. There is a different attitude behind this program. When we leave here, what we've done here, you guys have to follow our lead. You guys have to work. Brandon Williams, the wide receiver, the coaching staff raved about how it wasn't just that he worked hard in practice. He had an expectation that the young guys behind him, you have to do extra reps in the gym. You have to be here early and look and be ready to look at film. You have to take every rep like it's your last one. And hopefully that sort of that sort of spills over into the young guys, and they'll sort of continue that. But we won't know till we get on the field, like you were saying. But hopefully that's sort of the mindset that they're taking, because it is going to be a bit of a rebuild for them in terms of trying to get back to what they achieved last year.
Yeah. And, Paulie's kind of the same. They graduated all their key playmakers, and where are they going to be in terms of stepping up? And with the void there, right? Paulie, it was almost a three horse race at the end of the year last year with North Hollywood. Paulie was trying to make it, but it was North Hollywood, Monroe, and Arleta. And Arleta, interestingly enough, even though for them last year was very much a what do we have type year, like almost a retool. Quarterback Kennedy Duran was really trying to figure out playing quarterback. And they were trying to mix the traditional run-heavy, smash-mouth Arleta football with a powerful passing attack. And they kind of found their way a little bit as the season went on. But now the question is this year, Kennedy's a senior. He has quite a few weapons around him. And how are they going to mesh and take that step? Can they actually do that this year? This is a big one because they're pretty senior heavy. And with Kennedy being a senior, what is he going to bring moving forward to this program?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? There's an opportunity here where you look at what they're doing in the preseason, and it feels a little bit similar to what we saw from Monroe last year, where it was like, okay, the ball's in the hands of a senior, experienced player. There are guys who've been in this system, in this program for a couple of years now. This feels like a do or die sort of time for them. The East Valley, when you look at the teams who are sort of at the top, there are some questions. We know North Hollywood is going to be a really good team. They're going to approach the season feeling like they've got some unfinished business from what they felt like they should have accomplished and almost accomplished until they lost that game at Monroe at the end of the season and ended up losing to East Valley. And we know they've got talent. They've got gobs of talent coming back. But this does feel like our leader has an opportunity behind some senior leadership to kind of really take the reins and take the East Valley. But again, a little bit of a work in progress. You were at the scrimmage. You watched them a little bit. It was refreshing to see them try to attack with a little bit more balance as opposed to just being run heavy, because that sort of can be the separator. You've got a quarterback that can make plays with his arm as well as his legs. That could be the thing that separates you from the rest of the pack. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can do it.
It is. You had a chance to get some eyes on Grant, and I'll have you espouse on that in just a moment. The one that we know who they are, they know who they are, and they probably aren't going to change this year, is Chavez. This is the love letter of Kenny. And you've told me that people are noticing. So I'm going to let you go off a little bit on Chavez. I do want to talk about Grant, and we'll wrap up with NoHo as far as the East Valley goes.
Yeah, so with Chavez, the story coming into this season is building on what the foundational pieces to this program and building on an identity of being a tough team. One of the things that I'm excited, and I'll get to kind of see it up close in person because I plan on taking a trip to kind of get eyes on them this week, is the idea of they had some kids that sort of jumped that were playing on the JV level last year that they were sort of held back and didn't have them play varsity, even though they kind of maybe could have used some of that talent, but they wanted to let them develop on the JV level before they made the jump. How many of those guys are they incorporating? How many of those guys are going to be X factors for them? They had some kids with some size. They had some kids with some athleticism, and that's only going to sort of bolster that mentality, that pit bull, that workman-like mentality that you get from this Chavez team. I'm excited to kind of see it up close and personal, because if you know anything about that coach, he's not scared of anybody. He's going to attack everybody he plays, And if they can add a development, if they can add that element of a passing game, even in spurts, they're going to be a dangerous team to deal with. They're going to be the kind of team in the East Valley that might cost an Arleta or North Hollywood a shot at winning the East Valley if they're not careful and they drop a game there, because they could be a team that sort of holds the cards to who actually wins this league. So it's going to be exciting. They're a team to watch. You can't sleep on them. They've got talent, and they've had talent kind of laying in the weeds, and they're continuing to build that thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do.
Now, two of the teams that were very Jekyll and Hyde last year, pairing them together just because of that, were Grant and Verdugo Hills. Verdugo Hills started out very, very rough. There was a lot of frustration, a lot of questioning of where these kids' minds were at on the field. And I mean, we did it ourselves when we were recapping. I think it was the Monroe game, and there was some very, very bad body language. And I'll dig a little deeper. I was going to kick it at Grant. We'll do that in a second. I saw them in a scrimmage this week, and that's gone. You know, the leadership that was on the team last year, they kept the buy-in, and kudos to Sean Jackson. He is entrenched at Verdugo in the best of ways, and everything he's done, even in these rough years on the field, when you pay attention off the field, you see the growth of a lot of these young men. So that is actually something that I felt like was very obvious in their scrimmage. So I expect them this year, they could sneak up and be that third horse in the race if they keep it together. Now, it's an if. They did what they were supposed to do in the scrimmage, so they've got a couple tests coming in the beginning. Now, Grant, I didn't have a chance to see them yet this offseason. Kenny, you got to watch them. What are your takeaways coming, again, after such a Jekyll and Hyde year last year?
I'm expecting a little bit more of that Jekyll and Hyde that we saw, but I'm expecting it because now it's because there's a youth movement at Grant. They graduated a lot of those guys that they depended upon last season. And talking to Coach Stilly, he was very frank about the idea that, I've got experience in two places, along my offensive line and under center with my quarterback, who was young last year. Now he's going to be a junior, haven't had to play an entire year, having a year under his belt, and we're going to lean on him to be our leader. He's going to have to bring a lot of guys along, but according to Coach, they've got some talent. And he was like, and they're going to surprise some people with a couple of guys that they're going to look to get the ball in their hands as the season rolls along. But it's just one of those situations where there's going to be a lot of sophomores on the field for Grant on the varsity level. And when you see a lot of young guys having to step up and play varsity, you're going to get a lot of mental mistakes. You're going to get a lot of unforced errors. It's just a matter of how consistent can they be and how long will it take for them to sort of kind of pull it along? Or will this just be a season where you've got a quarterback trying to pull together some young guys and get as they're building experience, and it might be a little up and down. But if we know anything about Grant and from what we saw from them last year and how Coach Sicily gets these guys to play, they're going to be in games. It's just going to be a matter of, can young guys figure out on the fly how to finish games? That's always the hardest part on the varsity level. So they're going to be an intriguing team to watch. I don't know at this point how competitive they'll be with teams like Arleta, who are going to be a lot more experienced than they are, but they think they're going to be able to make runs at people. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see the grudge match between Grant and North Hollywood this year. That was an interesting one that I saw last year because it was very, very much a grudge match throughout the entire game. And going into North Hollywood, this was a team that could have very, very well become East Valley League champions. This would have been the first title in, gosh, we had it last year, but it was a very, very, very long time. We're talking 50 years. And that's something that is huge. And Coach Scott Fair is working towards. He believes this team is strong enough. And they're going to be leaning on Jalen Burt again. He's the guy. But he's not alone. We saw quarterback Nate Arlovskis last year as a sophomore. He showed he could throw the ball. So not only is North Hollywood going to be leaning on this run, leaning on Jalen Burt, like, hey, guess what? That quarterback's a junior now. He's got a year's experience at the varsity level. He can throw the ball. And Markai Shepard is healthy. He's a dual threat for them. And they got this kid. I saw him. He's like a man-child. Kenny, he's one of your favorite kind of kids. Not as big, but very much a man-child. His name is Omar Williams, right? Yep. And when I'm telling you, he reminds me of, I want to say, Warwick Dunn from way back when. Kind of stocky, kind of big, but when he puts his foot in the ground and plants, he's gone. So it's exciting, and North Hollywood is going to be scheming for all three of those guys to find ways to find success, and they're my early favorite in the East.
The only thing I got to add to that is, man, it's about unfinished business, man. That's it. It's unfinished business. I was standing on that sideline when the East Valley title was in their grasp, and Monroe punked them and took it. Quite frankly, I don't care. I don't care what the parents would, and the stands were screaming about the referees. Oh, the referees! You guys you're not. No. I watched Monroe punch y'all in the mouth, and there wasn't nothing y'all could do about it. I watched it with my own eyes. Got it on film, caught it in 4K. I was standing right there. I seen it all. It's about unfinished business this year. I don't want to hear nothing else. Y'all have the talent. In my opinion, when I look at the East Valley, I look at a team that is loaded in several positions. It's about, can you hold your water in those moments? Y'all fell apart when y'all ran into a team that was as tough as you were. I'm not going to say they were tougher. They were as tough as any team that you were faced in the East Valley, and you fell apart. So everybody from the staff to the players to the parents in the damn stands, everybody got to hold their water, because if you want to win the title, you got to handle business and you got to be men out there. That's it. Point blank. There's no excuses now. Monroe, all them boys that punked you, they left. They gone. Y'all should be the big dogs on the block. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing else. Go out there and finish the job. We had people jumping in YouTube comments, crying and whining about whatever happened on the field at Monroe. I ain't trying to hear none of that, because if I see you crying and whining in the comments this year, I'm going to be back in there telling you, shut up. They didn't get it done. Go talk to the kids about it. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing else. Go out there and get it done. You have the horses. How many more excuses can you make? You just have to win. That's it. Go handle business. Go end the drought. You got the talent to do it. Go finish the job. Be disciplined. Be focused. Go win the title. That's it.
I think it sounds like the theme for the East Valley this year, and I didn't see as much of them as I did the West Valley last year, but it seems like the theme for the East Valley this year is that they need to stand on business, and they're going to have to use two legs to do that. And the first leg is going to be that the kids have to put in the work this year, because there were some teams some of those kids didn't look like they played football last year. I'm going to be very honest. Like, I showed up to a couple games and I was like, I had a volleyball game. I don't know. But if the kids are putting in the work and they're putting in the hard work, and the coaches are able to utilize some of their new talent to re-strategize and utilize the skill sets that their younger players have, then there's no reason why they can't be successful. So
all I'm gonna say is, week 0, you got Campbell Hall coming to your building. I'm not expecting you to win that game, but I'm expecting y'all to stand tall and be 10 toes down and go handle some business. Go hit somebody in the mouth. There's a bunch of Vikings lined up in front of you. Go smack one of them in the mouth. I'm not saying win the game. I'm saying when we come out of that game, we should be looking at you guys like, okay, they're the real deal. Week 4, when you go see Grant, go put a number on Grant. They young, they rebuilding. Go make a statement. It's the first game out in the East Valley. I'm expecting them to make a statement this year. I don't want to hear anything else. This is the year. This is their time. They need to go handle business. That's it.
Simple as that. And we're going to roll right into handling business into the Valley Mission. This was the D2 championship. My apologies. This was not D2. This was the D. No, it was the D2 championship last year. It was Kennedy and it was Panorama, and it was one hell of a matchup. But don't look now. Silmar is still growing and getting stronger. San Fernando still has something to say. Not quite sure where they're at the moment, but they were in the mix for a while last year. And if these guys don't stay on their toes, Austin Ward at Reseda has a team that's hungry. Now they're young, they're learning. This is actually what you call a rebuilding program, but this is a team, and I saw them on Friday against Arleta. This is a team that's hungry. If you're not, as you said, Kenny, if you're not 10 toes and looking to smash someone in the mouth, Reseda's going to put a number on you. So just be ready for that, right? And Van Nuys, it's tough, but I will say I'm proud of that coaching staff. I had a nice moment with them. These guys are alumni. These guys are in that program to do it the right way. They're not going for a revolving door of coaches chasing pedigree or whatever. These guys in the beginning, they're doing it right. They're going to build out a passion. And Van Nuys is going to be a school where kids who go there want to play, they want to get the game under, they're going to have their kids. These coaches are coming from the right place. So that's a school that is probably going to be at the bottom of the league, but this year, it doesn't matter. The important thing is the coaches are there and they're putting this program back together. It was falling apart, and we touched on it last year. So my faith is in these gentlemen that they're going to put it together the right way. And we kind of touched on the rest. Kenny, you've had a chance to see and talk to a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, all conversation begins. We all know the road to the Valley Mission title goes through Kennedy. Realistically, that they were a team that even before they won that rematch against Panorama in the D2 championship, went into that game feeling like they had left some things on the table when they had lost in that regular season matchup, which ended up, being the difference maker. Well, a couple of things they left on the table because they lost to Canoga, they lost to Panorama, but we saw those losses sort of molded them into the team that they needed to be come postseason time when they just took it to everybody, right? So now you're talking about a team that, although they graduated some talent, a lot is still left on that. A lot of meat is still left on that bone that now has championship experience, and they're going to be primed and ready and understanding that everybody's gunning for them, and everything has to go through them in the Valley Mission. The question is going to be who are going to be the teams who really can challenge them. Panorama lost some key pieces, but Bernal still has that program rolling. I went out there, I saw them. Those kids still look hungry. They primed and ready. As soon as they saw me come out there, they were buckling chin straps. They were hitting the sleds a little harder. They wanted me to see. No. We're still ready to go. Like, despite not having quite the numbers they want in terms of being able to really have depth at certain positions, this is going to be a team that, because of their identity that's been built, they're going to fight you tooth and nail. And if Kennedy's not ready, they could lose to them again. Selmar is a team that I'm looking at with a little bit of an eye. I'm not saying the love affair is quite Chavez level, but you go and you peek in and around that program, and there's a couple of dudes in there that are kind of special. They've got some game records on that team. That Jace Mims kid is electric. They've got a McDonald kid that when he walks past you, only thing you fear is the only word that comes to mind, because the boy casts a shadow when he walks past you. They have got some dogs, and they're going to be a team that if you let your guard down, they'll put one on you too. As for the rest of the Valley mission, it's going to be a wait and see in a lot of regards. San Fernando's going to look to rebuild, but I'm not sure what they have in that program. You know that program traditionally is a tough-minded program. There's an identity there of they're going to fight you. It's just a matter of, are they going to find a little bit more consistency than they had last year, which is sort of what plagued them throughout the season. Canoga lost a lot of talent. That team won the Valley mission, but a lot of those key guys, including pretty much the entire O-line and that electric back they had, all those kids have kind of graduated and moved on from the program. Now you got a new head coach. They're sort of figuring out what they have, and it might take them a while. And because of that, that might make them a middle of the table team in terms of where they might sit in the Valley mission. And like you said, Ward's got it going at receiver. It just takes time. It takes time to get back to where you need to be in order to be a team that's going to, because when you're talking about Chase and Kennedy, you're talking about a team now that's had 2-3 seasons of really sort of building upon a winning identity. Even though one of the things with Kennedy that we got to wait and see is they lost a couple of key coaches, right? That might hurt them continuity-wise, but they're so talented that you're still going to have to put your best foot forward to play them. And Van Nuys, like I said, let's give them a couple of years. Let's give them some time. New coaches, there's new energy there, but it's going to take them some time to kind of figure out how to really build themselves into a good program. So, again, it's Kennedy, and then it's who can knock them off, because they're going to be the top dogs. But keep an eye on Selmar. Selmar might be a problem this year.
Yeah, and I saw them in action a couple times last year. Selmar, Jace Mims in action is just as electric as you would assume. But with Kennedy, before we roll out, they did lose the coaches, but the captain's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And as long as he's still steering that ship, the message is going to be the same. And he's going to be able to find coaches to kind of plug what is needed and keep pushing in that direction. And based on yours and my conversations with Cassidy over the last year, I don't doubt it. I don't. And they stay kind of among the team to beat in the Valley mission.
Absolutely. And like I said, they've got a Valley mission aside, they play a very competitive schedule. So we're going to figure out exactly what that program still has fairly quickly in the first couple of weeks of the season. But there's no doubt in my mind, this is the team to beat. This is a team that is on the level with a lot of the teams that we're expecting to be city championship contenders across the city section. They've been sort of molding themselves under Cassidy as a team that is sort of respected in what they do and how they go about business. It's just going to be a matter of who can kind of hang with them.
And the matter of who can hang with them, we've been asking that question about the West Valley for a few years. Last year, that was the big question. Who can hang with Birmingham? The answer was quite quickly clear. Granada can probably hang with Birmingham. El Camino might have a chance to hang with Birmingham. Cleveland might have a chance to hang with Birmingham. And one by one, Birmingham said no, and they survived Granada to push their winning streak, and they ended the year 34-0 since 2017 against city section schools. That's where they stand now. So they are the cream of the crop. This is who everybody wants to come after. And this year, you and I have said it off the record, but on the record, this is probably the most threat that Birmingham has seen in 7 years.
Listen, we know what Birmingham is, right? Kingston Tisdale, real deal. That kid is special. Peyton Waters, special. They got some big uglies on that O line and D line. I don't want to block them. I don't want to deal with them. So we know what they are. But the key to all of this, right, is that Granada game last year was the first time in a long time we saw Wolverine bleed. And a lot of these programs saw it and said, you know what? They are who they are, right? They didn't agree, didn't agree, and God rest his soul, like he said. They are who we thought they were. But we can play with them. We have the horses. We can play with them. And when you look at that league top to bottom, every team in that league, whether it's irrational confidence or not, no matter what you want to think, they all believe they can take a shot at the Kings. So it's just going to be a matter of who can do it, right? When you starting with Granada, right? It was a false start penalty away from winning that game. No matter, I don't care what Birmingham says, y'all know everyone knows. Like, that's how close that was. It was a 1-point game. It was that close. So now you look at where they sit now. Okay, yeah, Dijon's gone. He's at Utah. He's probably going to be wrecking people this year because he's already at camp breaking ankles up there. Can you replace that, right? Is Darrell going to be able to fill those shoes? You ask him, he'll tell you, hell yeah, I can fill them shoes. You kidding me? I've always been better than him. That's just the way they operate, right? Now they got the youngest Stanley who's going to play for them as a freshman. So they're still loaded, and we know about those bookend guys they have on their D line, and Chance Hexamer and Oliver Taylor. We know what they have, right? It's just going to be a matter of, can you put together 4 quarters to beat Birmingham? And no one's been able to do that for damn near 7 years. Like, it's incredible to run it on. That's why there's no disrespect to Birmingham. It's just there's an excitement this year that you can tell a lot of these coaches, because the thing about having a program that sets a standard like that, it forces everybody. If you're going to compete, it's either you're going to compete or you're either going to roll or you're going to get rolled over, right? So a lot of these programs have had to sort of figure this thing out, and you're seeing supreme talents pop up in different places. Corey Hall is a one-man. We saw him do it in a playoff game. He can beat you by himself. He literally can do it. We saw him do it. So Cleveland is going to be a lot to deal with, and they may have some tricks up their sleeve too in terms of talent that we aren't really talking about or know that has kind of entered that program and might sort of change or continue to shift the culture for Gunny and those guys. Ramo, now that we know how to say his name correctly after media day, thank you for that, Coach Street. Ramo is going to be a problem at Chatsworth. You still got to figure out a way to stop this. That Buddy can go for 200 on any given night. Got to figure out how to stop him too. And they're learning, because that's their identity, how to continue to be a bully behind him. And Street has talked about sort of building more discipline and building the confidence, and the crap that they've gone through off the field, how it's made that team, brought that team closer together. It's a real band of brothers going on at Chatsworth right now, up and down this league. And we're not even going to get into Taft, because Taft, again, sleeper teams, you might say irrational confidence, but that new coaching, that new staff, and the piece that I'm working on that'll be coming out on a Monday after we record this, they absolutely believe it's a year one coming for the Kings sort of situation. So This is going to be a fun year in the West Valley. Everybody's loaded their non-league to get ready to beat the hell out of each other in league. It is going to be fun up and down. I can't wait to see it.
Everyone knows I love the West Valley too. I had so much fun covering, because I mostly covered West Valley last year, and it was a blast. I'm really excited to see how these teams stack up against Birmingham, but also against each other too, because like you guys have mentioned, that Birmingham is on a crazy streak of being undefeated in the Valley, and props to them. I love my Patriots, but it's going to be really interesting to see how things shake up as far as who is going to be Birmingham's biggest contender this year, because these kids were amazing to watch play against each other last year. The competition is so well matched between them. And a lot of these teams, with I would say the exception of Birmingham, are heavy running teams. They love to run the ball, and that makes the games even more fun to watch. So it'll be interesting to see, with some moving arounds of quarterbacks and potentially some new receiving talent on these teams, to see how that alters their strategy and ultimately alters who the best in the West Valley is going to be this year.
Definitely. And, the one we haven't really said anything about too much is, El Camino. And this is a team that's going to have to be road warriors again. There's going to have to be a very, very strong mentality, because, hold on for a second. LAUSD. What the hell is wrong with you? You've had an entire year, and these guys still don't have a field. You haven't even started on the field, and today is Sunday. School starts tomorrow, and there's no football field. I'm gonna stop, because I could go off on that forever. These kids have to band together, knowing that it's basically them against the world at this point. They've been practicing in the weirdest places. Coaches are having to line fields that they probably shouldn't have to be lining. The adversity just keeps kind of coming at this point. And that's not even talking about kids who decided to leave the program. Let's leave that untouched. But you look at what they have, and there's going to be some youth in some key places, but they got a leader on that field. And this kid looked me square in the eye and told me, I'm so excited to be playing defense again this year. He wants 1,000 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. Oh, and he also would like 10 sacks, please. Thank you very much.
See, that's why I didn't talk about Elko, because I was waiting. I was saving it, right? Because I keep telling y'all, right? Everybody thinks I was crazy about Chavez. No. There is a man amongst boys. There is a God amongst men that looms over the West Valley, and his name is Big Jake Shirley. And I've been telling y'all for a year about this man, and I'm telling you, this man is going to have a breakout year. He is going to dominate competition, because he is a man. You saw him up close. That man is Thor, okay? And I'm telling y'all, just wait. And that's why I wanted you to get all of, there's a lot of nonsense that Elko's got to deal with. It's terrible. We got to get that field situation settled. This is crazy. We can't have this, right? But despite all of that, when you look at this program, when you look at the toughness, there is one guy that sort of exudes the toughness that everybody on that team follows. Go look at the Instagram. Go look at this man clanging bang. Go look at how guys are gathered around him. This man leads those troops in the battle every week. He's going to do it this year, and I think his numbers are going to be crazy. He is an absolute game wrecker. He is a guy that you can split. He is a tight end. You can split out wide like a receiver, because he's athletic enough to beat your corners. Your linebackers can't run with him. He's incredible. And now you're talking about, now he wants to go back and he wants to dominate on the other side of the ball too, and he can. I think that Elko might be a problem for people to deal with, because this team is going to be able to kind of battle through adversity. They've got talent all over the place, and their leader is going to take them to the promised land, and Jake Shirley. Maybe I need to dial it back a little bit. I'm excited football's around the corner, but I love Jake Shirley. I'm glad you brought him up because that is a guy that everybody, if he's not on everybody's radar yet, which if you don't know who he is, you're sleeping under a rock. I'm telling you, he'll be a household name by the end of the West Valley regular season because the guy, and quite frankly, because of some of the names they lost, they're going to need him. He has to be a focal point for them this year. So I'm excited to see what he does, man. I'm sorry I had to jump in there because I love Jake. I think he is a phenomenal kid. He is a phenomenal leader, and every program needs a Jake Shirley in it. You need one of those kids in there. You need a guy that speaks soft and carries a big stick, and this bleeping kid carries the biggest stick because he can do it all for you. And he leads those guys, and he's phenomenal. He's one of those players. There's a handful of them that get you excited, that make you want to go watch a team. He's right at the top of that list for me. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Elko, good luck. Hopefully the field situation gets straightened out, but y'all gonna be in good hands because Jake Shirley gonna carry y'all on his back if he have to.
And aside from being like a corn-fed mammoth of a human, like he's also he's intelligent. The kid is a genius. Like this kid knows how to command a field. He knows how to command a team. And if you didn't know all of the stuff that Elko had to go through in order to just have a team and be as good as they are and all the things that they had to overcome, you would have no idea because they don't play that role, and they definitely don't show any weaknesses when it comes to how they play and how they are matching up against these other teams in the West Valley. They are a pleasure to watch and a pleasure to actually join on the sideline too. They are the most fun team to hang out with too. So if you do get a chance to get down close and talk to those kids during a game, after a game, all they're gonna do is promote each other and like have each other's backs. The camaraderie on that team is amazing. And to your point, I think it's just the energy that team carries, led by Jake Shirley.
It is. And, coach was pretty clear, yes, young at those places, but Jake Shirley stands there and he looks everybody in the eye and he goes, we got this. I got this. And I did not. But the other big thing that I took away from Media Day was very, very much how do I put this? I'm gonna have to say probably looked like he was a long lost twin. But we know he's not because his brother plays on the line with him at Granada.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Taylor, just, I don't know how he did it. I mean, some of it's natural growth because he's going into his senior year, but he looked bigger and scarier out of pads than when he was winning a city title last year. Kenny, you and I talked to him. Kaylie and I talked to him last year when he was raising that trophy. Now, when I spoke with him, he looked at me and he was like, yeah, Chance and I plan on wrecking some people, but that line, there's some blood on that line, some new blood. And they're super excited about when they go 5 on the line, that they're unbeatable. This D line will crush anybody. And I had to take a moment on that. And if he's saying they're better than they were last year, and last year we saw how they dominated, how that line helped carry them into the state playoffs on the defensive end, while Dijon and Darrell were running crazy on the offensive end. But the other big point about our other grown man-child in the West Valley is not only is he this insane beast, he finished last year with a 4.4 GPA. He's got a pilot's license. He's doing so many different things, and he's he's looking at some of the best schools in the country, and they're looking at him quietly. You don't have to see it everywhere else, but he's right there. Now, don't be surprised if by November he's over here saying he's going to be wearing cardinal red, or he's going to make Kaylie really happy and go to the Ohio State, because they have a really good aviation program, and that's something he's eyeballing. So if he can fly and play football, there's a couple of places he's looking at. But I specifically mentioned that for you.
Ohio is the birthplace of aviation. It says it on all our license plates.
And let me add a couple of names here. We're talking about the West Valley, and this is what is so exciting about the West Valley, because, you know, we glanced over them a little bit, and rightfully so, because I have a feeling we might be talking about this team quite a bit over the course of the season, with Taft and Coach Fred Emerson kind of taking over the reins there, and really wanting to put a stamp on the fact that this is not going to be the Taft you're used to. You know, they're going to be air raid. They're going to be the opposite of a lot of teams that want to run the ball. They want to throw it around. There are a couple of names that will become household names fairly quickly if this team is able to get out of the gates the way that they want to. And it starts with, obviously, the quarterback, Devin Conroy, who has to sort of kind of, you know, pilot the thing for the theme that we've been talking about. But there's a three-headed monster on their offense. Senior running back Michael Mansoray, who is a man-child, 5'10", 175, but ain't an ounce of body fat on this kid. Legs like tree trunks, run over you, run around you. He can do it all. Legend Wilson, their junior, he's really a kid that's, just dynamic. He was a running back. He played both ways. He was a running back, defensive back last year. This year, they switched his position to just playmaker. His official position on the field is, well, he's got the ball in his hands, and good luck trying to stop him. And they also have a secret weapon in a senior wide receiver named Leo Leshin. Kind of a Wes Welker type. He's a slot type guy. He's a guy that's going to move the chains for him, a guy that you'll lose in the mix on the field with all the stuff they're going to have going on. But he's the kind of kid that by the end of the night, he'll have 11, 12 catches, a touchdown. He'll move the chains a bunch of times. And Emerson told me personally, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for a lot of years. He was like, he's easily the best wide receiver I've ever worked with, is what he told me. He was like, the kid is special, and he might be on his way to really doing some things in which people sort of kind of notice who he is. I think that's also something we got to watch out for when we're talking about players who might emerge this year out of the West Valley that become household names. Look out for that three-headed monster at Taft, because they got big plans for those kids. Emerson's got big plans to make a splash early, and it's probably going to start week 1 when they take on Westlake, opening that brand new building this coming Friday night.
A lot of questions are going to be answered starting week 0. We're right there. So as we roll into the wrap up, you guys, there's a lot to be excited about this year. I mean, I know we probably said that last year, but coming off of what we covered last year, basing everything on the growth we've seen this year, some of these changes, some of the excitement that we're feeling just being on the field at all of these schools, it really, really is going to be an exciting year. And, you know, for different reasons, right? Is this the year that the Birmingham streak ends? Is this the year where you have a unknown team, step up in the Valley Mission and take the title? You know, is this the year where a team that hasn't won in so long finally breaks through and wins the East Valley League? Those are some very legitimate questions, and I believe that we will see answers to these as we go forward, and it's exciting to watch. And we, the three of us are going to be around. You will be seeing our faces. Get used to it. We will be hounding you because we love you.
If you thought year one, and first of all, let's start there. If you've been around since year one, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting what we do. We do this because we care about the city section. We care about the valley. We care about our kids, and we're doing everything we can to raise the profile of these kids, these coaches, these programs, everything. But in year two, there's going to be more content. There's going to be more Instagram reels. There's going to be more profiles. You're going to learn more about these kids and these coaches than you thought you wanted to. We are going to bring you so much more stuff in year two. We are primed. We are ready. Our energy is high. I wish I could put on a helmet and go smack a couple people around myself. But because I can't do that, I'm going to try to bring you as much content of other people smacking people around as we can. It's going to be fun. Also, quick shout out to the city section and bringing in girls flag football. Don't know how we're going to incorporate that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try when I can to get out and make sure we support our young ladies who are putting on the flags and getting out there and running fly routes and 7 routes and all of that. We're going to try to get them out there as well. So good luck to all our athletes in the city who are gearing up for fall sports across the board. And we're going to do everything we can to bring you as much of it as we can. Thank you for supporting us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what you're watching. Continue to support, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love the fact that when we go out, people are acknowledging us. People know who we are, and it just speaks to the work that we putting in, and it only makes us want to work harder and do more stuff and get out and pound the pavement and continue to bring all our kids up as much as we can. So thank you guys.
And to Kenny's point, as focused as we are on the content that we're going after, we also we welcome any kinds of knowledge or opinions or just general, if you're a player and you want to give us a profile, we would love to hear from you. Content is what we go for because we just want to promote you guys. So if there's anything that you want us to say or you want us to talk about, you want to hear more about, please do not hesitate to reach out. Please come up to us at the games. We're not all work, no play. We want to hear from you too. So please, please, please give us your thoughts as well.
And, in person, in comments, YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah,
Twitter,
slide in the DMs.
all over the place, Now, if you're sliding in, keep it professional, please.
Yeah, of course.
But we
sports only. Thank you.
Yes, because we are here from a passionate point. We're passionate about what you do. We have so much love for the athletics and for the kids and for these programs and these coaches and these ADs, because it really is a special thing to be able to play sports at the high school level. So when you see us, when you see the little ball with all the little balls on it, that's us. We will be there. We're around. We want to see you. We want to talk to you. Come say hi. You can't miss Kenny. You can't miss Kaylie. I might blend in a little bit, but I'll always have something that'll stand out. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We're going to have so much more content for you guys this year. And good luck in week 0.
City up, 10 toes down, baby. Peace.
Let's make some noise and have some fun.